Ba-da-ba-ba, ba-da-ba-ba-ba, ba-da-ba-ba. It's the final. I don't know why I have this little countdown that I get on. It's I don't know what you don't care. It's Adam the Bull, the bullpen. It's Tuesday, the day after Independence Day. I had done an entire podcast yesterday, and we had some technical difficulties, so I couldn't put it out there. Hopefully today's works fine. I won't know till I'm done. But a lot to get to on today's show. First of all, I want to tell you that today's episode brought to you by Bet Online. Bet Online has you covered this season with more props, odds, and lines than ever before. Bet Online, where the game starts. So where we're going to start today is Independence Day. I was going to do this yesterday, but I told you it's a problem. So it was a nice weekend. It was Independence Day weekend. It was a nice weekend for me. There were some things this weekend that weren't great, but I want to have some fun today. Mostly fun. I got some serious things to talk about, including a terrible weekend for the Guardians and some serious things we need to declare independence from. But at first, we're going to have some fun, and we're going to declare on this Independence Day. I know it was technically yesterday, but go with me here, for crying out loud. We have a bunch of things involving Baker Mayfield and Deshaun Watson and a whole lot more that we will declare independence from on this Tuesday, July 5th, right here in the bullpen with Adam the Bull.
Podcast is not for the faint of heart.
And I do think it's time for the Browns to move on.
It's not for those who ride the fence.
He's proven nothing.
But if you're looking for someone who tells it like it is about Cleveland sports,
everybody does fandom their way.
You've come to the right place.
I don't think he's any good.
It's time for the Bullpen with Adam the Bull.
You darn right it's time for the bullpen. Here I am, Adam the Bull, looking grubby. It's early. It's early Tuesday morning. I'm recording this. And as soon as I'm done with this, I'm going to shave. I am going to be on TV. I'm on TV now, right? It's YouTube, but and we're going to be on YouTube again later for the Ultimate Cleveland Sports Show. And Jay's off this week. Happy birthday to Jay. Yesterday was his birthday. He's off on vacation this week, so I'll be sitting in the lead host chair today. And looking forward to the show today. But I'll shave and clean myself up a bit before we get to the Ultimate Cleveland Sports Show. But this is nitty-gritty time. This is grubby. Let's go. Lot to get to today. How about I figured out how to do this? Woo! Look at that. I can't even figure out where to put my hands yet. Here. Oh. I don't know what I'm doing. Make sure you follow me on Twitter. Listen, if you're watching this podcast, you listen to this podcast, you already know how to follow me on Twitter. But I finally learned how to do it, so let's throw it up there. Adam the Bull on Twitter. I got rid of the other part of that. Ooh, just Adam the Bull. Yes. All right. So in honor of Independence Day, which of course was yesterday, I want to declare my independence from a bunch of different things. And I think you will all be with me on a lot of these things. I'd like independence from Baker Mayfield. I think he'd like independence from the Cleveland Browns, right? This has gone on long enough. Going back to what? It's been how many months now? We're in July. I don't know. My math is not great. It's been about 4 or 5 months that Baker has been languishing with the Browns, and we've been languishing with Baker. And it is time for us to all declare our independence from Baker Mayfield and for Baker to declare his independence of the Browns. Unfortunately, none of us can do that without help from the Browns and some other willing a team. It's time for Baker to move on. Sayonara, go somewhere else, have fun. I don't know if it's going to be Seattle or Carolina or maybe a surprise team, a mystery team, if you will, that is going to take on Baker Mayfield. But it is time for us all to declare our independence from Baker Mayfield. And what a better day to do it. Well, I guess yesterday on the actual 4th of July would have been better. But he wasn't traded yesterday. Maybe he'll be traded today. I don't know. I still think I never thought he'd be a Cleveland Brown still when training camp began, and I'm still hopeful he won't be, and I'm sure he's hopeful he won't be, and I'm sure most of you are hopeful he won't be, except for I know some of the die-in-the-wool Baker bros are getting mad at this, but even for your guy, the guy you worship, he wants to be gone. So, wherever he goes, you can root for that team now. Just having a little fun with you. But training camp starts in, less than 4 weeks. We'll see if he's still here when that happens. I'd like to declare my independence from Deshaun Watson controversy. Now, that's going to be hard to do because there's a whole court system that's got to deal with the 4 cases he still has pending. There's a Judge Sue Robinson who's going to make the initial decision on his penalty or punishment for his alleged behavior. And we still got it's a week still before briefs are due. So this thing is not ending anytime soon. We all hoped it would be over by now. A decision would be made. The drama will continue, and unfortunately, as much as we'd like it to, this may not be over by the time training camp starts. We were just talking about, will Baker be gone by the time training camp starts in less than 4 weeks? Well, will Deshaun Watson's issue be settled? I think we're all sick of the drama, right? And now we asked for it. I asked for it. I was excited they traded for him. I'm still happy they traded for him. I still think the trade is going to be a great trade for the Browns in the long run. But selfishly for me and selfishly for all of you that agree with me, we're all sick of the drama. We want it to end. We want it to just be about football. And it's never going to be totally, because there's always going to be other fans giving you a hard time, which we got to take because we did it to other fans, especially the Steelers, and that's just part of it. But as I've said many times, you don't need to apologize for being a Browns fan. Otherwise, every other fan base needs to apologize for being a fan of their team. Good luck finding a team without a guy who has some shady stuff going on off the field. Freedom. Guardians fans, especially after what we saw in that disgusting doubleheader, and I'll talk more about that later, against the Tigers yesterday. We, as Guardians fans, need freedom. We want independence from a low payroll, for crying out loud. You know, the Guardians have a great president, team president, Chris Antonetti. They have a great general manager in Mike Chernoff. They have a great manager in Terry Francona. They have a scrappy bunch on this team, led by their one superstar, Jose Ramirez. And they need help. We saw that yesterday. And we've seen that lately. I mean, outside of the Sunday game with the Yankees and those 2 comebacks against the Twins in the 5-game series to end that series, it's been pretty ugly lately. You know, you take out those 3 games, since they beat the Dodgers and then they won those first 2 against the Twins on the road. And since then, they lost that last Twins game, then they got swept by Boston. Then they lost 2 of the first 3 to the Twins. They did salvage the last 2. Then they lost the first 2 to the Yankees. And they salvaged the Sunday game. And now they lost the doubleheader to the Tigers. Overall, the Guardians, since that week against the Dodgers and Twins, they've been playing pretty bad baseball here. It's been an ebb and flow season. I'm getting too in the woods on the Guardians right now. I'll get back to that later. Sorry. But the freedom here, I forgot the bit for a second. We want independence from a low payroll. It is inexcusable in 2022 for a team to have a payroll this low, about $60 million. It's just absurd. The Guardians' payroll must be doubled. Hopefully the new owner will help with that. I don't know if he will or not. I'm hopeful that eventually that will change things. But the Guardians have a lot of work to do to improve this team. I'll talk more about that later. I want to declare independence from the hypocrites of college football. Man, we've spent a lot of time this summer, this spring, hearing from whining coaches like Nick Saban. Not Ryan Day, our guy. Ryan Day has embraced the NIL, at least publicly, so good for him. He came on our show, the Ultimate Cleveland Sports Show, talked about it, had no beef with it whatsoever. The younger coaches, I think, can embrace this more. Ryan Day is a younger coach. He has embraced the NIL world. Meanwhile, the old school coaches like Saban are whining about it, complaining about it. As they continue to get rich, as the conferences and the schools do not think about this. UCLA and USC just showed you once again how hypocritical the college football world is. There's been more complaining about transfers and NIL. Do we hear any complaining from Nick Saban and these other guys about UCLA and USC to go into the Big Ten? No, I don't care. But don't tell me it's amateur athletics when you're making students from Southern California travel regularly to Rutgers and in New Jersey, to Pennsylvania, to Ohio, to Maryland. Give me a break. Now, I'm fine with it. I'm sure the players are fine with it. They got no problem, most of them. But stop calling it amateur athletics. This is professional football. Now, for the smaller sports, okay, yeah, the players aren't going to make as much money. But because of all this movement, because of how much more money now USC and UCLA make, the Olympic sports and the lower revenue sports will now be able to survive because the football team, the basketball team, in some cases the women's basketball team, in some cases the baseball or hockey maybe, are making more money. And that's okay. I'm okay with that money being made by the schools so the kids, the young adults who play in the non-revenue generating sports can play. That's a great thing. And I have zero problem with the transfers. I don't care if guys transfer 100 times. I don't care how much money they make off their name. Guys and women, make what you can, do what you can. That's fine. All right. One more. Well, I got a few more, but this is the one more, and then we'll take a break. Freedom for LeBron James. Independence. I want LeBron James to declare his independence for the mess that is the Lakers. Forget getting Kyrie Irving. Let Kyrie Irving languish. Wouldn't that be great if Kyrie Irving got himself traded to the Lakers and then LeBron left? That'd be beautiful. Let's go. I want LeBron to declare his independence from the Lakers so he can come back to the Cavs. Yes, I know 6 months ago I said I don't want him here. And I have since admitted multiple times that was one of the dumbest things I've ever said. You may have your beef with LeBron for whatever reason. He left again, his politics, whatever it might be. But I know this. LeBron James led Cleveland to its only championship in over half a century. And the Cavs have a good young team. And if they could add LeBron without getting rid of any of those three, because I'm not trading any of those three. None. All three staying. If I could add LeBron to these three young stars, Cavs can win another championship. They can't without him. They'd have to get another piece probably. I don't see it. Maybe Mobley ends up being that kind of player that he can be the top 5 player to lead the way. We'll see. But, man, if they get LeBron here. So I hope he can declare his independence from the Lakers. Take a break. When we come back, got a few more things that we need to declare independence from. We got to get to the Guardians and a whole lot more. Right here on the Bullpen with Adam the Bull. But first, folks, I want to talk to you about BetOnline. BetOnline.net is your number one source for all your betting needs and sports info. It's about time states around the country are making gambling legal. It's absurd that it's not everywhere, but everybody's coming around, including Ohio. BetOnline is your continued source for all your sports wagering information, including live betting, esports, and scores. And BetOnline.net remains the best spot for all your sports scores, podcasts, and news this season, any season. MMA, boxing, golf, football, baseball, basketball. It doesn't matter. Whatever you want, they've got you covered. I love it, and you will too. BetOnline, where the game starts. All right. Let me take a serious tone for a few minutes here before we get back to being silly. A couple of things I'd like to declare independence from. There was another mass shooting yesterday, and I don't want to dwell on this. I know this stuff is so depressing, and it just got me thinking. I know this is pie in the sky. I wish we could declare independence from anger and division and stress and sickness and death. I want to live forever, don't you? Some people tell me they don't want to live forever. I'm scared as hell about dying. I don't know, it freaks me out, especially because I'm fat. And I worry about that stuff. But I don't know, man. Everything that's going on is depressing. And I know it's easy. Can't we all just get along? I don't know. I wish we could. I don't know if we can. I hope we can. I hope we can find something to bring us together as a country, because some rough times. But I don't want to dwell on that. I do want to declare independence from lying. Wouldn't it be funny? Wouldn't it be great I mean, it would be funny, too. But wouldn't it be great if every time someone lied, their nose grew like Pinocchio? Then we'd know, right? There's all these arguments about, no, he's lying. No, he's not. That's the truth. We don't know what the fact is anymore. Everybody makes up their own facts, which are not really facts, but, whatever. You get my point. Now, I got a big nose. You can see I'll turn to the side. I shouldn't talk away from the mic. See, I know I got a big nose. I'm all right with that. It's bulbous. Bulbous, yeah. A lot of nose right there. I'm okay with that. People are uptight about their noses. My nose is not big. You want to get a nose job? I never get a nose job. I like my big bulbous nose. I'm fine with that. But wouldn't it be interesting if every time you lied, your nose grew like Pinocchio? Until at some point it fell off, right? And then we just know you're a chronic liar. Now, I know this is ridiculous, but think about it. This would be great in all walks of life. You're dating. Somebody tells you, oh, yeah, I like you, or I'll call you. Politics. I won't get to the details, but, man, there'd be a lot of big noses in politics. My nose wouldn't look that big anymore because I'm not a liar. I tell it like it is. I always do. Although, wouldn't it be very sneaky to bring the subject up to try to deflect from the fact that I'm a big liar? I don't think I am. I think everybody tells lies sometimes. I'm trying to think if I've ever told an egregious lie on the air. I don't think so. I think the biggest, you know me. I think you know me. I'm not a homer on the air at all. But I remember when I first went on the air in Cleveland in 2011, that first year we went on the air August 29th, 2011, and we did Browns predictions that first week, and Colt McCoy was the Browns quarterback. And I remember picking the Browns to go 8-8. And I think I was trying to be a little more optimistic than I really believed. So that's probably lying about that. And everybody tells little white lies here and there. But by and large, I like to keep it honest, keep it real. I think if we all were honest as much as we could, the world would be a better place. But anyway, so I'd like you all in the next day or two to, and I know I got a little serious there at the end, but most of it was fun and silly. But I'd like you all to today, when the podcast comes out this morning, or whenever you watch it or listen in the next 24, 48 hours, whatever, or you listen to it a week from now, send me a tweet or an email with something. Let's stick with the silly and funny ones. Something you'd like to declare independence from, or somebody you'd like to see declare independence. Tweet them at me, email them to me, and coming up, during the week, I will read some of the more creative ones that are sent my way. All right, I'm going to take a break. When I come back, I'm going to get more in depth on the Guardians and what's, they're struggling right now. And losing a doubleheader of the Tigers was a little rough. That's all coming up right here in the bullpen with Adam the Bull. And I'm back. Here I am. Just knocked the computer to shake the camera for a little bit, but that's all right. So let's talk about the Guardians here. It's been the Guardians, as we wake up this Tuesday morning, are almost at the halfway point of the season. They've played 78 games. You have 3 games to go before we reach the halfway point of the season. They begin today 3.5 games behind the Twins for the division lead. They are not a wild card team right now. They're 2 games up on the White Sox in the American League Central. They've actually been outscored by their opponents by 3 runs. The Guardians' run differential is 9th in the American League alone, which is certainly not good. The Guardians are a flawed team. They are a team, I believe, that has overachieved. They've been better than the sum of their parts. It's been a weird season, right? Early in the year, they were very inconsistent. They went on a stretch starting in right around the end of May where they started playing great baseball. They won, I believe it was 17 out of 21, concluding with a great road trip where they swept 3 games in Colorado, took 2 out of 3 in LA against the Dodgers, and then won the first 2 in Minnesota. And at that point, they were season high 8 games over 500. Remember, they had those 2 big come-from-behind wins to beat the Twins in the first 2 games of that series, 6-5 and 11, and then 11-10. They were 36 and 28. Well, the next day, they were shut out 1-0, and they've played very poor since. Since that long stretch ended of winning, the Guardians have now lost 10 of their last 14 games. And think about this for a second. They've lost 10 of 14, and that's with those 2 great comeback wins last week against the Twins here in Cleveland. And they those 2 games on Wednesday and Thursday to win that series, 7-6 and 10, and then 5-3. They were down big in both those games. They made great comebacks. They did salvage the final game with the Yankees, a great performance by Tristan McKenzie. But really, they have been playing poor baseball. And, to go and get swept by the Tigers, a lot of it's been the bats, right? And we can't be surprised. I did a show, I think, early last week when I first started the podcast and talked about the fact that this team is going to be, especially when it comes to hitting, inconsistent because they have a lot of young players. It's the youngest roster in baseball. It's younger average age than any AAA team. Just think about that for a second. And so you're going to see inconsistency, and that's what we're getting. The Guardians' bats, which were so good, have been pretty bad for the last 2 weeks now. I mean, you think about it, they have only scored more than 3 runs, 3 games. The only 3 games in the last 2 weeks they've scored more than 3 runs was the loss to the Yankees in the first game of the doubleheader. They scored 4, but that was meaningless because they were getting crushed. And then the 2 comeback wins over the Twins. Those 2 comeback wins that I mentioned, the 7-6 and 5-3. Their bats have been, outside of those good comebacks late in those 2 games, their bats have been non-existent. Concluding with a doubleheader against 2 rookie pitchers for the Tigers, in which they scored a total of 4 runs. The Tigers got nothing. They got no pitching. They called 2 guys up, 2 guys up from the minors yesterday to pitch, and they scored a combined 4 runs. And again, they're calling up Drew Hutchison today. Another guy's he's not even a rookie. He's like a journeyman. And the bats have just been awful. So you're talking about 7 runs in their last 4 games. And 11 runs in the 5 games since those 2 comebacks against the Twins. It's been ugly, but it's not unexpected. And they may continue to struggle here a little bit. Hopefully not, because you're playing only division rivals the rest of the first half, and it's teams that are all under 500. They really had an opportunity here to pile up some wins and get moving in the standings against the Twins, because you had to end the season starting yesterday, or end the first half, I should say. You had 15 games against the Tigers, the Royals, and the White Sox, and 11 of the 15 against the Tigers and Royals, and 8 of the 15 against the Tigers. And you just lost the first 2. So the Guardians better get it back together. They've had this 2-week slump. Let's go. Let's get it cracking. And they got to get a bunch of wins here down the stretch. They're going to have the pitching edge in almost every game in the last 2 weeks of the season, outside of maybe some of those White Sox games. The Tigers don't have pitching. The Royals don't have pitching. And the Guardians' bats got to wake up. But, again, we can't be surprised that there are going to be struggles. This is not a great baseball team. This is a team I expected to be in the 70-something win area this season. I think they're going to end up being a little better than that, but I think we're going to see inconsistency all year. They'll probably get hot again. Maybe they'll start today. Maybe they'll win. They got, 13 left before the All-Star break against Detroit and Chicago and Kansas City. Maybe they'll go and win 10 or 13 over the next 2 weeks. That wouldn't surprise me either. I think we're going to, with a team this young and this inexperienced, we've got to expect, and especially with Jose Ramirez struggling a little bit, as he goes, they go. Hopefully get that thumb right. you got to expect some pretty interesting peaks and valleys of the season, and that's exactly what we're getting. So I don't think any of us should be surprised by any of this. But what I talked about, during my Independence Day stuff was freedom from low payroll. And I know this is not a great team. I know we look at the Guardians and say, well, how are they supposed to compete with the Astros and the Yankees and the Red Sox and the Blue Jays, teams that we know are going to the playoffs, right? But the Guardians in 2016 had no business going to the World Series. They were injured. They were undermanned. They were one win away from winning it all. In 2017, they were the best team in the American League, won the first two against the Yankees in the first round of the playoffs, and have not won a playoff game since. You don't have to be the best team in baseball to win. This is not basketball, where if you're an 8 seed, you got no shot. In baseball, you just got to make it. If you can make it, you got a chance. And the Guardians have to go. The Guardians have a glut of middle infield prospects. They've got a 40-man roster crunch they're going to have to deal with in the offseason. They're going to probably trade Shane Bieber. They might even do what they did with Bauer. I know, different type of guy. Bauer's not a pain in the neck or Bieber's not a pain in the neck like Bauer was. But they may end up trading him, making obviously some buy trades with getting some veterans and selling Bieber at the same time to replenish with veterans. We shall see. But the Guardians have to be aggressive. We cannot. The trade deadline is, I think, 4 weeks from today, or maybe 4 weeks from yesterday, roughly 4 weeks away. We cannot go 4 weeks from now. This team's got to have some upgrades, right? They've played better than we could have expected, despite what happened yesterday. The team has overachieved. The front office, the front office is capable. We've seen it time and time again of making smart moves to make this team better. But ownership has got to open the purse strings a little bit. This embarrassingly low payroll must end, and the Guardians must be aggressive. They have 6 guys in the lineup that I'm comfortable with, personally. I'm not saying they're all great. And we'll see what happens to Naylor, because Naylor got hurt yesterday. Hopefully he's all right. Naylor and Jimenez have done an excellent job this year. We know Jose, okay? Ahmed Rosario played well last year, was terrible in April and May, has played much better lately. We're comfortable with him. Obviously, Fran Meals had a terrible season. He's been awful, but you're not replacing Fran Meal. He's a good young hitter. He's got power. He's got to find a way to have a big second half. I know it seems unlikely right now. I've seen crazier things. I think Fran Meal can turn it around. And I'm good with Stephen Kwan. Solid player. But your other spots, Gonzalez, who did a nice job, is hurt right now. Miles Straw's been awful. I know he's a good fielder. I know he's a good base runner. He can't do anything else. And last year, when they got him, and he played really well down the stretch, and I said, a nice player, but I think he's a 4th outfielder. Oh, boy, did I get people mad at me when I said that. I got a lot of anger when I said Miles Straw's a 4th outfielder. I think there were even other media members who were telling me I was wrong. How's everybody feeling right now? And we know about catcher. I've talked about this on and on. I know Austin Hedges is hurt right now. No offense to him. He can't hit. Maley can't hit. Sandy Leon. None of these guys are the answer. I've been saying for weeks the Guardians should aggressively go after Wilson Contreras from the Cubs. He is one of the best hitting catchers in all of baseball. He's got power. He gets on base. I mean, he's a good athlete for a catcher. He's not elite defensively, but he's good enough. He's fine. He's not bad. So, I know that's not their type of move to go after a rental, but, break out of that pattern. Do something different here. Let's go. Go get a big outfielder. Go get another starting pitcher. The pitching's been inconsistent. You can never have enough good pitching. Go get a bullpen guy. Why do we have to settle for one? Why do we have to settle for none? Let's go. I know the front office is ready to do it, but they got to get the okay from Dolan. And it's ridiculous. The team needs help. They've done as well as they can through 78 games. Now, ownership owes it to this team and this fan base to spend some money to make this team better. All right. Folks, couple things. Yeah, there it is. Make sure you follow me on Twitter at Adam the Bull. please check out my website. I've done some updates to it. Opportunities for you to potentially hire me for certain things. Check out Book the Bull on my website, adamthebull.com. Also, please, I hope you're watching the Ultimate Cleveland Sports Show on YouTube weekdays from 11 to 1. We'll be on, of course, today, this Tuesday. If you miss it, you can stream it live from 11 to 1, but you can always watch it back after. I believe we've got Mary Kay Cabot and Didi Kinkabwala on today's show, so I'm looking forward to that. As I said before, clean up, shave, freshen up a little bit before the show. Also, I'm on Cameo. I've made 2 videos. I got 5-star ratings. I put my heart in these videos. Let's go. Want me to wish a birthday greeting or a congratulations or a happy anniversary to a friend? Check me out at Adam the Bull at Cameo. So there you go. All right. Hope you enjoyed the latest edition of the Bullpen with Adam the Bull. I will be back on Wednesday. Have a great day, everybody. Right here, the Bullpen with Adam the Bull. See ya.